you very much.
The gentleman from California, Mr. Khanna, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's very disappointing that this Supreme Court has put ideology and politics over the rule of law to take away fundamental freedoms and rights from women across America. You know, it's not just me who is perplexed, frustrated, outraged that the Supreme Court would actually take away rights in our country at this time. It's the American people who are outraged. The Supreme Court approval ratings have never been lower. Gallup did a poll today, 40% approve. Most Americans understand what's going on. They understand that this was an ideological political decision, and they disapprove, and this Supreme Court is losing the respect of the American people at large. The decision to take away women's fundamental rights, the decision to take away women's right to choose and make decisions about their own health care has affected different districts across America differently. In my district, we have gone out of our way with many leaders and civic leaders to stand up for women's decision to do what they think is appropriate with their bodies and their reproductive decisions. But Ms. Fry, in the wake of Dobbs versus Jackson, could you briefly touch upon how the experience of seeking reproductive care, whether it's getting contraceptions or getting an abortion, may look different for a patient in rural America than a patient in an urban area?
Well, yes, Congressman, I think you're absolutely right that the experiences are quite different depending on whether or not it's one of the 26 states that now either ban or are likely to ban abortion. For folks in those states, they have to look elsewhere. There are economic costs if they have to travel. They may or may not be able to get the prenatal care that they need. Many of those folks are already, we know from the pandemic, living in areas where there have been persistent health inequities for decades that have led to the racial and ethnic disparities experienced by many Black and brown women in particular. And so now, you know, they have no choice maybe to go to other states, but it is a cost. And it really, it's a situation that shouldn't be the case. People should be able to access the health care they need, and it shouldn't be determined by their zip code.
Thank you, Ms. Fry. Ms. Lee, could you expand on that and just talk about how a patient in a rural community might be impacted if she cannot afford to travel across state lines to obtain abortion care?
Yes, thank you for the question, Representative. I can speak, while I only speak for myself, I'm here representing the hundreds of other patients that I've met in my years of advocating and storytelling, and now the patients that I work with day in and day out. And we don't have to guess in Western Pennsylvania, we are living it. We have 2 clinics that perform abortions in Pittsburgh, and the next closest clinic, even within our own state, is over 3 hours away. We are the closest clinic for 70% of Ohio. 2/3 of the people I talk to every day are from Ohio and West Virginia, who are traveling hours in each direction, organizing rides, getting childcare, because they have to leave. They live in urban centers. I talk to people from Columbus and Cincinnati and Akron.
I appreciate you mentioning Columbus, because I was there with the president recently where they're opening up this new Intel facility, all these jobs, the governor's there. And, you know, obviously the right to abortion is a fundamental human right, but beyond that, it's impacting the ability to bring manufacturing jobs, because Intel and others are saying we can't recruit to get people to go there. We can't get people to go to the colleges or have women come to work here, given the uncertainty. Can you talk about how this is hurting states that want manufacturing jobs and want an economy to actually be able to do that?
You know, I can only speak on behalf of myself. I'm not an economist or a policy expert, but what I can tell you for myself is after living through my second pregnancy and needing an abortion and accessing that care, that I want to live somewhere. I want this whole country to be a place where people can access that care. And I can imagine that folks wouldn't want to settle anywhere where they couldn't access a basic human right, because abortion is self-determination and it is our right as Americans.
Thank you.